Hello, it's September the 11th, 2011. I'm making a remembrance video for all the people that were murdered on 9/11. I was really, I can't turn on the TV and or listen to the radio because there is so much false um, propaganda on there. There has been for 10 years. And when anybody wants to get to the truth, they hush them up, or try to call people names, or conspiracies. Anyway, there is definite proof that 9/11 was an inside job. The fact that Bush appointed Cheney as head of NORAD 2 months before 9/11 is one of the big smoking guns right there, because Cheney did not only was in charge of NORAD, but he also told someone in NORAD to stand down. There was a witness to hearing Cheney tell some soldier to not to. Well, the soldier asked, "Do the orders still stand?" And Cheney says, "Have you heard anything different?" So, in other words, he was there was supposedly there was a plane coming towards the Pentagon, and he was saying to not to do anything about it, something like that. Anyway, that's just one little thing out of literally thousands of things. Um, Marvin Bush, the younger son of George Bush, was in charge of not only the security, electronic security for the towers. He was also in charge of security for the airports, where the planes came from. I know that's really something. And not only that, but his last day on the job was 9/11 for the towers. And the Silverstein took out a huge double terrorist thing for a great big amount, not too long before 9/11, like 2 months before 9/11. And there were, like, he was involved with the Jewish people, uh, for anyway, the thing with the Jews and the Palestinians is this has been going on for thousands of years, but there's even all this biblical stuff that was written that is just there was, like, Tuck Moses when there was Moses. There was another person that was around when Abraham was around, that was the same Pharaoh. And so my point is that a lot of the stuff that happens with the Jews and all that is more like an occult, where the pharaohs, would disguise themselves. There would be different people, like the Queen of England is actually supposed to be a descendant of Abraham. I know that sounds really odd, but of all the pharaohs, it ends up that somehow the pharaohs end up getting into Italy, and then going over to England. This is, all this. Remember all the Christians, soldiers, and all that. That was all. Everything is kind of misleading to. It's always misleading to the general public, and that's what 9/11 is. It's very misleading. It's what really happened, and it's meant to be misleading, and it's meant to terrorize you. That's the one thing that they do say right in a way, is, it's a terrorist attack. It is a terrorist attack, but who perpetrated it is the thing. And Bush was working with um, people that were involved in, like, emperors and stuff. They get this god complex, and they think that, like, if you were to ask the Queen, do you think you could legally have someone put to death, uh, and no matter what, and she'd probably tell you, yeah, I can have anybody put to death, because that's the way they think. They're occultish. It's like the Queen has got rats in her hair. They're still way back in thousands of years ago. I mean, that's the way they lived their lives. And the Patriot Act goes back, before the Magna Carta, goes back before 1200, because back in 1200 they decided that they ought to let people know what they're being accused of, because the kings back then were getting beheaded themselves every couple of years because they were getting being so outlawed. Some of the people were trying to figure out who to take it out on, because they knew that there was kleptocracy, just like there's kleptocracy today, and that means where there's no real law at the top, and so the king and queen could also be taken over by even corporations that they think are their friends, because they help the corporations to take their money offshore and all this stuff. Well, they can turn on each other someday too, because they're so lawless now. And but the thing that I was trying to get back to was the disguises of, like, Abraham, all the different things like Abraham, Isaac, climbing Jacob's ladder. If you look, you'll find that there were actual pharaohs that the names, like, that they had coincide with those names, and so and then the bankers, they go right along with all this stuff, especially because they're like the grand vizier. They do all the financing, and they actually in some ways are more powerful than the queen herself, because they control the finances. So, like the Rothschilds really should be investigated, and the Federal Reserve is just an extension, just like the CIA is an extension of other Secret Service agencies, and even the Pentagon is an extension of the empire of, like the London and the Vatican and DC are the only three independent states, and they're all set for different things. Like the Vatican, of course, is a spiritual, and then you have the the London, which is the financial, and then you have the DC, which is the military, and that's why the military is so huge, because we're the third hub of that occult wheel. There's a video that would be good for you to see. But anyway, this whole thing with 9/11 is kind of the whole thing like an occult type thing. It's on 9/11. There's all these unanswered questions, and there's really thousands of unanswered questions. But anyway, I just want to say that I hope the truth does come out someday, because all those people were innocent, and bullies can only, I don't care if they think they're God or not. You don't go around killing innocent people in your own country. And I do believe Bush knew about it and helped plan it and everything else. Thank you very much.